Welcome to the Business at the Speed of Sell podcast, where you learn how to accelerate the growth of your online and offline businesses, profits, and personal income. Tune in daily to get the tips, tricks, and tactics that have generated over $100 million in online and offline sales. Now, here's your host, Anthony Flatt.
I'm Anthony Flatt, and you're listening to the Business at the Speed of Sell podcast. I named this podcast Put Me in Coach because I believe everybody needs to have a coach, needs to have a mentor, needs to have somebody who's been there, done that can help them figure things out along the way. And the reason I think you need a coach is you only know what you know, and your coach hopefully knows things that you don't know, and they've hopefully been where you want to be. And that's what I would say. If you're looking for a coach or a mentor, look for somebody who is where you want to be, and then do what they're doing and get them to help you learn how to do what they're doing. There's a lot of coaching programs out there. There's life coaches, there's business coaches, there's consultants, there's mentors, there's friends and associates. You really need to make sure that you're getting your coaching from somebody who is A, got your best interest in mind, and B, somebody who is going to provide you with some value and not just utilize your time and waste your time and or waste your money as well. So when do I need a coach? Well, I think you need a mentor or coach just about, in the beginning of any business or personal adventure. So if you're trying to lose weight, you need a, weight loss coach. If you're trying to win at a certain type of competition, you need a sports coach. If you're trying to develop a new business, you need a business coach. If you're trying to save your business, you need a business coach of a different, style, somebody who knows how to turn around businesses. So you have these different needs. So you really need to hone in on and think of, what kind of coach you need. Now, there's lots of marketing and advertising out there for different kinds of consultants and coaches and mentors. And, when you look to hire a coach, they're going to look at you and decide if they want to work with you. You need to look at them to decide if you want to work with them. And you need to find somebody that matches your personality, matches your thinking and where you are today. And let me kind of explain what I mean by that. So there's lots of coaches out there, and there's lots of great coaches out there. And there people hire these different coaches, and some people don't hire a high-end coach because they don't feel they have the money for a high-end coach. And some people hire a high-end coach before I think they're even ready to have a high-end coach. If you're building a business from scratch and you're trying to get a coach to help you, you don't want to hire a coach that's taking businesses, $10 million a year businesses and taking them public, right? Because his perspective is established business going public, whereas you're just getting started. So the information that he's going to provide you, yes, he probably at one point in time started a business and developed it, and maybe that coach can help you in some ways, but they're not immersed in the troubles, challenges, and tribulations that you're going to be going through. So you really want somebody who's, not too far ahead of where you're at so that you can utilize the things that they've been through, but they can also relate to where you're at and what you're doing. And they can easily remember, when they were back in that state. And I think that's a big mistake a lot of people make. They go for the polished coach. They go for the slick Willie coach because he sounds good and he looks good and he's got everything figured out. And man, if he can be making $200 million a year, I should be able to make $200 million a year. Well, maybe you need to focus on making the first 100,000, then the first million, then the first 10 million, then the first 50 million, then the first 100 million, because you don't have the tools, you don't have the things, you don't have the business processes in place, you don't have everything set up the way that needs to be to take it to, $100 million. I know there's tons of people out there that have programs that say, buy my software and you make $100 million. And I wish all of those guys would just disappear. Just does everybody a disservice to believe that you can overnight make millions of dollars. Overnight successes take about 10 years, 10 years of hard work. Now, when I say that, some people say, well, I don't want to work hard for 10 years on something. I want it now. Well, do you want to keep having a job for the rest of your life? Do you want to stay in the situation that you're in now for the rest of your life? Is it not better to invest 10 years of hard work and development, growing a business and getting to where you want to be, rather than constantly buying program after program and product after product and failing time again and time again? So the truth of the matter is it's going to take some time and effort. And maybe you'll hit that home run. Maybe you'll come out and your first business will be a huge success and you'll sell it for hundreds of millions of dollars. It does happen. But the stories that are out there about that happening, you've got to remember that while it looks like it's happening to everybody because social media is so available these days and marketing and publications are so available, it's only one person out of hundreds of millions of people that are doing that thing. So the odds are just astronomically against you from that perspective. However, there's lots of people out there that have viable, profitable businesses that are growing concerns that deliver great quality and quantity of product to their customers, and they take care of their customers and they build a real business. And that's all that I've ever been about, is building a real business. I use my real name. I use my real persona. I don't hide behind a screen name or a pen name or any of that stuff. And there might be some reasons and places to do some of those things if you go into some specific markets that are not part of your forte. But for the most part, to be honest with you, I'm all about being out front and upfront, and I want to make sure that people see that. Now, when I do my coaching, I'm not looking for the guy who wants to make $100 million. I'm looking for the guy, and I've even built my own picture of who my perfect client is. I've sold over $100 million worth of products and services in my career. I sell to corporate America. I sell high-end, high-dollar ticket products. I've also built internet products. I've obviously got this podcast. I've got Kindle books. I've done a lot of the internet marketing and social media marketing and all that, but most all of that I do in the process of having a real business, of growing a real business with real income and real customers and real revenues, and not this hit and run, and not where you have to, develop customers every single day. You have to go out and buy, lists and build, this to get more and more customers each time. I resell to my current customers again and again because I deliver a really good product. I make them happy and I take care of them. I'm looking for people who want to do that same thing. Those are my coaching clients. The guy who has a business that he's already sold something, maybe he's made some money, maybe he's got some revenue, but he hasn't made some money. Maybe he's throwing money into this thing, that wants to know, okay, what are the blocking and tackling things that I need to do to take my business to the next level? Not what is the quick fix, not what is the secret pill, not what can I do tomorrow to make, $10,000 by the close of business tomorrow. I'm not that guy. And I think when you're looking for a coach, you need to be looking for the right coach. Now, that guy might be the coach that you want. Maybe there is such a thing as, a way to fix your business overnight. Maybe there is a way to give you a program that's going to generate all this stuff. Or maybe there certainly is software out there that, overnight's going to make you that automated ATM that's just going to pour cash out. Not been my experience. Not been what I found out in the market. What I found out in the market is there are a group of honest internet marketers out there building great products and building real businesses. There's a group of physical product creators that develop electronics and digital products and technology for networking and videos. And there's lots of real companies out there and real products, but there's far more people who have basically made a living trying to sell people on how to, be an overnight success. It's just not going to happen. I feel I'm kind of going on a rant, but I really wanted to get out that you definitely need a coach. Why do you need a coach? Well, why should you spend so much time learning stuff to find out what you've been learning is not going to help you anyways, right? I mean, I've been in this business long enough that I've seen the sales mantras where the sales programs teach you how to be, and sorry, used car sales guys, but I'm going to bag on you a little bit, show you all the techniques that the used car salesman uses to get you to buy their product, right? Or the over-the-top telephone marketer, all of the techniques, the tonalities, the way to ask questions, the way to probe, the way to get yes, get them on a yes, get them saying yes, and all of those things. And a lot of that is good and it's in the right place. But so much of that stuff is just a process to get you to make an impulse buy. And there is no desire to continue to maintain you as a customer or continue to take care of you. There is no concern for if you are able to use this information that you buy from them or use whatever it is. They're just techniques. And I've studied those techniques. I've studied those guys. I've been in sales and marketing for a very long time. And I've went through a lot of different sales and marketing programs, physical seminars, training courses, books, audios, the whole range. And there's a lot of good stuff out there. But there is no trick. There is no secret bullet. There is no way to go and just, learn this one process and it's going to work. But a coach can help you along the way. They can tell you, okay, this is where you're at. Okay, you've got your website and it's making money. Okay, let's look at your sales copy. Let's look at your product. Let's look at your overall offer. Let's look at what you're doing. Maybe you need to create better product. Here's how you can improve that product. Here's how you can change these things. And they need to be able to get in there with you, roll up their sleeves, and help you do that. Not necessarily do the work for you, because most coaches, consultants, and mentors don't do the work for you. That's not what their reason for being is. If it was, you'd have to pay them a lot more money and they would be your partner. They wouldn't be your coach or mentor. But they can come in and tell you, here's the way I did it. Now, I don't necessarily think that there is even the greatest coaches, and even myself included, I don't think there's any one person that's going to fix everything for you, but you do need to have that main coach. And maybe you want to be part of some of the mastermind groups that are out there that have people at your level or above in that group, so that you have people that are out actively working on and developing their business. But, be careful in that too, because in the mastermind groups, everybody's doing something different. So it doesn't mean that in your business that you should be following what everybody else is doing. You need to find your own way and find your own path. And that's where the coach can really help you in helping you design what is your business plan? What are your sales funnels? What is your marketing strategy? What is the equipment that you need to have and the platform that you need to build to be able to do the things that you want to do? The concept of going out there and just doing everything on your own, you can absolutely do that, but you basically have two things. You have either time or money. And so you can spend a lot of time, and I've done it. I absolutely am guilty of going out there and learning and studying and, waiting way too long to do something. This podcast, I've been trying to do this podcast for 2 years, and the reality is, for 90% of that time, I was just constantly reading and listening and learning and dabbling around with various parts of actually doing a podcast. Had I went and hired a mentor to walk me through doing this podcast, I could have probably done it in a week. Now, it would have probably cost me $2,500 to do the podcast. And to be honest with you, in the beginning, I wasn't sure I wanted to do a podcast. But when I finally decided, yes, I'm going to do a podcast, I'm going to launch it, that's it, I'm going to do it. Fortunately enough, I had studied enough and learned enough that I was able to launch a podcast by myself. But that's 2 years of time. I could have done it in a week. I could have just paid the money and done it in a week. And at the time, if you'd told me 2 years ago that I could do it for $2,500, I would have probably said, yeah, but I think I can probably do it myself. Well, that's a little bit of ignorance on my part, because there's a lot more moving parts in developing a podcast than what you might think. It's not impossible. It's actually not that hard. There's lots of coaches out there. There's lots of products out there. But had I invested in a coach, I would have launched 2 years ago and not just got around to launching it a month ago. So anyhow, I'm really big on coaches. I'm really big on mentors. I have my own coaches. I have my own mentors. I have different coaches for different things. I have a spiritual coach. I have a business coach. I have a sounding board. I have a group of men that I respect a lot, that I bring my ideas, my challenges, my issues, and I ask them questions about, okay, what should I do? How should I do? And they know me. They've known me for many years. So if I bring to them some big thing that I'm about to do, they really help me in saying, well, last time you did this, you kind of went this way. So you probably want to look out and try to maybe do one of these things, or get one of these people, or, make sure you answer this question before you go down that road. So definitely have your advisory board, definitely have a coach and mentor, maybe even get into some mastermind groups, definitely get some education from people that are at your level and above. The fact that your brother's not doing it, the fact that your family are not into whatever it is you're doing, that's fine. Don't worry about it. They're going to do what they're going to do. And I find that most of my business associates and friends and mentors are not from my immediate family and not from my immediate circle of lifelong friends. They're my business associates, and many of them have been my business associates for 20 plus years, but they're not my neighbors. They're just they're not my kids' friends' parents. It's a group that is different than the family members that I have. So it's fine to not have them involved in your business either. So my advice, obviously, go get a coach, expedite what you're trying to do. Make sure you get the right coach. Just don't hire anybody. Really interview them. Find out if it's somebody you want to work with. Find somebody that can do the blocking and tackling and building the business that you want to build the way you want to build it, and get some solid advice. And then heed to that advice and apply that advice.
If you have a question for Anthony, then head over to www.anthonyflatt.com and leave him a voicemail message for a chance to have your question featured on the show. Thanks for listening to the Business at the Speed of Sell podcast at www.businessatthespeedofsell.com.